Hello everyone and welcome back to game week 1 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and for the first time of the new season, my good friend and co-commentator Troy Willicombe for the action between Sale United and Muscle Warriors. Troy, how are you?
Not too bad, Ryan. Yourself?
I'm very well. Had a really good time commentating across game week 1, and my God, what a weekend it's been, particularly when referencing GBG Knights, for which you now play for, following a recent switch and transfer over from Villa Rockets Lions. Give me your thoughts on game week 1.
Game week 1 as a whole for the team is what we expected, really. A few challenges, worked well as a team, but it managed to work considering how many new players we had join the squad. Good results. Good for the team to be in the top 2, I believe, still.
Yeah, top 2. No, top of the league.
Oh, top of the league.
More favourable goal difference than that of Muscle Warriors, for which we are about to commentate on. They were faultless yesterday. 3 wins, 3 games, 11 goals scored, none conceded. So, for you, whilst being impartial, I'm sure you'll be hoping that Sale United can grow in confidence and potentially get something from this game, but they've certainly got the work to do if they're going to trump one of the most informed sides in the division. So Mark Kerrison, our central referee, complemented by Steve Crump and Jamie King to go through the squad. Starting with Sale United, they have Jake Hudson, new player, having recently transferred from Manchester United, David D, Daniel Holt and Jack Hassan. Muscle Warriors, Hannah Hindley, recently transferred from Leeds Dynamos, a very late acquisition for the Watford-based outfit. She's a fantastic addition to the squad. In front, Rickenshaw, Jacob Vickers, I say the current league goal scorer. GBG Knights have been so prolific in their games across this season. George Holloway now top goal scorer with 8 goals across GBG Knights 3 games. Jacob Vickers in second on 3. He's on fire, George, isn't he?
Different beast.
It's just, I spoke to you all yesterday collectively. Obviously, Nomad Knights. It was a challenging season in the Premiership, but you've all come back. You've kind of disbanded, rebanded, reformed, new look, new team, new approach, and you just look like you're playing with a smile on your face, which is so important as one point, but also playing with quality, with players such as Oscar Smedley experiencing National League football for the first time. It's really encouraging. And on the point of George Holloway, a player who I think, from my point of view, I would reference him as a confidence player.
He is.
And that confidence has maybe eluded him in the last season or 2, or certainly since he had that leg break a couple of years ago. But the best I've seen him ever. That's full stop, because I don't think he was even operating at them levels when he was an AFC Bournemouth Warriors player. So fantastic for him, really positive to see. And he looks like he's going to be a real key member of your squad across the 24-25 campaign.
He will be, especially with his newfound shooting boots, shall we say.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone could have foreseen George Holloway scoring as many goals as he has already.
Now back to the action here. Hudson plays out to D. Now Vickers breaks free. What can the number 7 do now? Tries to leave it for past Gakwad, but he was unaware. Looks like a Sale United kick in for Jack Hassan, deep around his box. Into Hudson. Takes it on the drive. Evades past Gakwad and Jacob Vickers. Dan Holt now on the break. Met by Shaw. Collision between the pair.
Yeah, a lot of contact flying in the opening 3 minutes. Mark Kerrison overseeing proceedings here this morning. Sale United without any substitutes at their disposal, so they're going to have to make it work with the players they have on the court. Stark opposite when talking about Muscle Warriors. Both quality and quantity on the bench. Mitchell Goslin, George Shippey, Stanley Ball and Shay Murray. Particular shout out to them young new players, George Shippey and Stanley Ball, who contributed significantly across Muscle Warriors performances yesterday. George Shippey with 2 goals in his National League debut. Stanley Ball likewise, but it was the Stanley Ball show against Villa Rockets Lions. 2 strikes in a 2-0 win secured them 3 points to end the day on a high. I know he has friends and family watching from afar, and they should be beyond proud of the levels of performance he's putting in his first ever National League weekend. Quick maths, Troy.
Oh God, here we go.
What number National League season is this for you?
This will be, oh here we go.
Rough ballpark. Fifth. Okay.
Because I did a season with the All-Stars. They disbanded.
Yep.
Did 2 seasons with Nomads. No, 3 seasons with Nomads. Season with Villa, now GBG Knights.
Perfect.
Never thought I'd bring up my GCSE math skills on the commentary booth.
He liked to test you. Jacob Vickers now probably the standout performer of yesterday's action. It was absolutely incredible.
It must be the blonde mullet.
Do you know he's matched his goal tally of the last two seasons in one day?
Wow.
Yep. So I think he secured 6 goals across, or 5 goals across the 23-24 campaign and the 22-23 campaign. And he's already matched that tally. So similar and akin to George Holloway for GBG Knights. Kind of an unlikely goal scorer or outlet in attack, but one that we are absolutely here for as he passes it into Rickinshaw. Blocked by David D, who was sensational in an earlier defeat to Manchester United, and then things often don't pair together. A player having such a good performance in a losing game, but he was so crucial to limiting the damage, and considering the opposition in which he was up against, players 10, even 20 years he's senior, shows how exciting his trajectory could be in the sport of power chair football, and the same can be applied to so many people.
Looks like Pathgat acquired exits the field for Shay Murray. As Alan said to me yesterday, the set-piece specialist.
The set-piece specialist, that brings confirmation of that substitute now. As Shay Murray, for his first involvement, fires it into the box, bypasses Rickinshaw, who just acted as the screen over to the man in form, Jacob Vickers, but well blocked by the Sale United defence. Thank you to everyone tuning in, to myself and Troy, for this kick-off here this morning. Please contribute and put your comments, thoughts, feedback in the YouTube stream. We will strive to get you a shout out. Here Shay Murray fires it into the box, over to Jacob Vickers. Attempt on goal, blocked by Jack Hassan. Good pressure from Muscle Warriors, who are growing into this game. 7.5 minutes in, still Sale United 0, Muscle Warriors 0.
But all it takes is one ball to fall to David D's front bumper, as Hannah Hinley's quite high out of her goal area.
Yeah, and Daniel Holt is an outlet on the far right as well. Obviously, he has to be careful of his placement as to not give away 2-on-1s. Just for context, 2-on-1, a fundamental rule in the sport of power chair football which prevents more than one player from the same team challenging an opponent within 3 metres. Shay Murray, the set-piece specialist, has Rickinshaw as the closest option in attack, all the way out to Jacob Vickers, or certainly intended to be so. Rickinshaw attacked the ball into the side of a stationary Jake Hudson. You can see why Alan Murray looks to utilise Shea Murray in set pieces because he does have that accuracy and power to trouble opposition's defence.
Especially when you've got a clinical finisher and experience of Rick and Shaw that can dictate where the ball is going without it actually being in his vicinity.
From the outside looking in, Muscle Warriors just look like the perfect amalgamation of youth and experience now. They've got players who have operated in the National League at the top level for many, many years. Ricken Shah, Jacob Vickers, Mitchell Goslin, to mention just three. But that's obviously paired and complemented by their young talent in Shea Murray, George Shippey, Parth Gakwad and Stanley Ball. Didn't even mention Hannah Hindley, who I regard as one of the top players in the National League. I think that could be such an incredible signing for Muscle Warriors. The stability she provides and the foundation she gives Rick and Shah to build upon cannot be understated.
Also adds experience between the goalposts. Not saying Mitchell Gosling wasn't an experienced goalkeeper, but he can be utilised in so many other areas now that he's not just stuck in goal.
It's a long season. All of them 8 players will get their game minutes and time. You have to pick and choose your moments. Alan Murray is a really good man manager in terms of ensuring his players get minutes. He has a responsibility to them younger players not to overwhelm them and throw them in at the deep end, but also he's going to want to expose them to this level of football, which he did so brilliantly yesterday. He was not shy in providing George Shippey and Stanley Ball with their debuts in the National League. And firstly, we have to give him credit for taking them on in the first place. There can be a hesitancy sometimes to give young regional-based players that opportunity in the first place, because there is a significant step up from regional league to National League. Whilst it's always decreasing, it's a difference for sure, both in terms of intensity of matches, quality of oppositions, exposure. Some of the regional leagues in which these players operate in are completely different to what we work with here at the National League.
For example, for myself, the South West League isn't the biggest league, and it's totally different to National League, but it's still the foundation of power chair football, going through the regional ranks, whether it be the South West, South East, etc. You still build up, get that experience, and then you could take that regional experience onto National League, so you're not completely oblivious to the atmosphere, etc.
Exactly that. David D, as was the case in his earlier performance against Manchester United, very busy trying to fragment the attack of the opposition, just trying to position his chair in between those passing lanes. Rick and Shah, obviously that central pivot, will be looking to distribute it out to both Jacob Vickers and Shea Murray, so it's a responsibility, certainly how they've set up for David D to drive from left to right in between them channels.
Like a little road runner, as they would say.
I think that's a perfect description of him.
The ball now falls for Vickers. Rick and Shah tries to get a ball moving, but the experience of Hassan just cuts out that ball 9 times out of 10.
Another player that often gets overlooked or goes under the radar, Jack Hassan, was brilliant for Sale United last season, and I believe they finished 9th, so I think the aspiration will be to just have a higher placement than that. But by the way they've started this season, they will almost certainly not be drawn into them bottom placements of the 24-25 Optegra Championship.
Don't think that was the goal kick Hudson was looking for. As soon as he took it, he knew by his face that's not what quite he had in mind.
David D into Jack Hassan. Closed by Jacob Vickers.
Also, what I've noticed about Jacob Vickers this season so far, is he's really worked on his passing game in pre-season.
Heavy contact from Shay Murray there. No decision from the referee, who's over on the other side. So play just stopped, and while that is the case, bring up the live league table very quickly. You'll see that a point for Muscle Warriors here would see them leapfrog GBG Knights, but would give GBG Knights that game in hand.
Didn't know it was on the screen.
They're back running here. 5.5 minutes left of this first half. Sale United nil, Muscle Warriors nil.
I believe as points stand, Muscle stay second.
No, Muscle Warriors would leapfrog you with a point more and a game in hand.
Oh, apologies.
But I believe, well, rather than guessing, let's have a look to see who else Muscle Warriors have left in game week 1 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship. They played 3 games yesterday, so this is the first of 2 today. Sale United before they face Teesside Steel, so a tough fixture against Teesside Steel. GBG Knights have a 4-game weekend, so Muscle Warriors could put a slight buffer between themselves and yourselves ahead of game week 2. But everyone plays 22 games. Parth Gakwad has entered the action in place of Shay Murray.
Let's look at last season, for example. 3rd place in the championship wasn't decided until last game of the season.
No, it was so competitive last season. It was one of the most intriguing, entertaining leagues and seasons of the National League we've ever had. To think that from 7th to 3rd was only separated by 4 points. Muscle Warriors finished the season on 37 points, just 2 or 3 points off of potential promotion or automatic playoff. Indirect free kick here. Jacob Vickers to take. Parth Gakwad, the option in the box. He goes for goal himself into the side of Jake Hudson.
Jacob Vickers just tying up Hassan to allow Rickenshaw to retreat in a defensive position. Does well, the pair. Can either of them find a teammate? Blinking it backwards. Ball's gone. Signal by linesperson Steve Crump in the favour of Muscle Warriors.
So, 3 minutes left to be played. Jacob Vickers to take. Fired across the box by Parth Gakwad.
Corner ball in the favour of Muscle Warriors.
Proven to be a fantastic game on Court A between the 2 bottom teams of the division. Nottingham Forest currently 2-1 up against AFC Bournemouth Warriors. That's also live across the WFA's YouTube channel. Commentary brought to you live by Nick Woodward and Dean Williams. You're joining myself and Troy Willicombe for this one. Chance for Muscle Warriors. Keep an eye on Jacob Vickers. We'll look to pounce here. Slight miss-hit from Parth Gakwad. Into the path of Rickenshaw, who just weaves the ball round Jack Hassan and Jake Hudson, capitalising on a momentary lapse in concentration. And with just 2 minutes left of this first half, Muscle Warriors take the lead via that man.
Also, during the process of the celebrations of that, I believe Alan Murray was giving some instructions to Jacob Vickers on how to slow down the game to bring it to half-time. Speaking of Alan Murray, looks like he's having a word with his substitutes while the last minute or so of this first half is still to play. David D now on the break for Sale United. Rickenshaw now breaks down this far side from us. Unsuccessful, leads to a Sale kick-in around their box.
Confirmation of that goal from Rickenshaw. Another little table I'd like to bring up. It's just the top goal scorers of Muscle Warriors in the opening 4 games in which they've played. You've seen Jacob Vickers on 6, Stanley Ball on 3, George Shippey on 2. So all of their players contributing in front of goal. If we do the same for Sale United, you'll see they've struggled a little bit more in front of goal. David D, the only man with a goal to his name.
Hassan now plays to D, but closed down by Shah. Shah just weaves behind D, tries to get it to pass Gakwad, but cut off by Hassan. Muscle kicking around the halfway line here. With 5 seconds of regulation time left to play. We are on Mark Kerrison time now. Vickers shoots goal bound, hits the back wheel of Jack Hassan and ends up in a Muscle corner ball.
Yeah, very late opportunity here for them to double their advantage. Jacob Vickers will take Rickenshaw, the goal scorer, the closest of the 2 supporting options. Of Gakwad at the back post, taken by the number 7. Just feints one way, drills it into the front of Rickenshaw's bumper, and that will be the last action of the first half. Sale United 0, Muscle Warriors 1. Join myself and Troy very shortly for the second half. everyone, and welcome back to the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and my co-commentator Troy Willicombe for the action between Sale United and Muscle Warriors, currently separated by a single Rickenshaw strike. And if we bring the live league table up, you can see how that influences things. This is a live league standing, so takes the current score line of both Court A and Court B into consideration, but Muscle Warriors back at the top. 4 wins from 4, closely followed by GBG Knights. Manchester United in third, 3 games played, 2 games won, 1 game drawn. Should Sale United manage to get anything from this game, could potentially go level on points with Teesside Steel, or even go as high as third, depending on the scoreline. So it shows how close it is around that middle pack. AFC Bournemouth Warriors and Nottingham Forest currently playing on Court A. You can see what a potential 3 points does for Nottingham Forest. Takes them clear of both the relegation zone and the playoff position in 10th. And just to give that context, whoever finishes 10th in the 24-25 Optegra Championship will face whoever finishes 3rd in the 2024-25 Optegra Premiership in a one-off playoff game for one single Premiership spot. Back in July, for the first time in over 10 years, the Championship team comprised in that playoff beat the Premiership team. So congratulations to Norwich. They beat Nomad Knights to secure their return to top flight football for the first time in a very long time. I think 10 or so years. Give me your thoughts on that first half, Troy.
Dominant display by Muscle, using their set pieces well. Sale, though, have been hard to break down in open play, especially with David D on the edge of the box, being their standout player of the first half. But Rickenshaw using his experience to weave his way through and poke that goal to the far post to us.
So teams ready themselves for kickoff. Looks like we've had another goal on Court A. I'll bring you that once we're live on this one. Nottingham Forest extending their lead by 3 goals to 1. But we are back underway. Sale United 0, Muscle Warriors 1. Confirmation of that scoreline. Nottingham Forest look set to secure their first win of the new campaign as Jacob Vickers fizzes an effort wide of the left-hand post. Worth noting, I think Nottingham Forest only managed to get 1 win across their 22 games last season, so already a bright start for them.
Hudson now to take the resulting goal kick for Sale United. Wide open space in the middle for Rickenshaw to occupy. Goes for Hassan. Plays the ball into the path of D.
Slight miscommunication between D and Holt. Neither knew what player was engaging the ball. Likewise with Jack Hassan there. I'd like to see a little bit more communication between the outfield players of Sale United. Nottingham Forest look like they're running away with it on Court A. Down to David D. Out of play for a Sale United ball.
David D to take that ball. Looks like Hassan's taking his central position, with Daniel Holt as the outlet ball. Little bit of miscommunication there as Muscle Warriors did have a substitute from the first half in Mitchell Gosling, coming on for was it Parth?
It was Parth Gackwood that finished the first half, certainly. Interesting approach for Muscle Warriors, varying Mitchell Gosling's utilisation. Typically, as Troy referenced in the first half, was operating as a goalkeeper for Muscle Warriors last season. So new role for him in an attacking wide area. Quickly taken by Jack Hassan into the side of player coach Jake Hudson, met by Jacob Vickers. Good work from Jake Hudson. Encouragement from Jonathan D on the sidelines. Calls to keep fighting. The most advanced he's been all game. Can he work it into space? David D waiting on the edge of the box.
Balls for Hannah Hindley. Alan Murray shouting at Hannah Hindley just to advance up the pitch to create some space. Ball's gone out of play in favour of Surrey United. Muscle in the second half seem a bit disorientated and doesn't seem to have as much pressure as they did on the first half. Ball falls for Mitchell Gosling.
This is, of course, a relative statement based on their performances yesterday, but Muscle Warriors not quite clicking as well as they did yesterday. This, of course, their first half of football. So, and they're still a goal to the good. So, again, that relative comparison to their free-flowing attack that they produced yesterday.
A little bit of miscommunication there between Mitchell Gosling and Rickenshaw.
It's reoccurring, isn't it, for both of these sides? I think it's that momentary lapse in concentration and communication gives the opposition possession. They're going to want to iron that out in the following 16 or so minutes.
Bit of a collision off the ball there by Hassan and Gosling. 2-on-1 given in the favour of Surrey United. Jacob Vickers and Rickenshaw. D to Hassan, back to D. Dan Holt now, goes for the shot. Would have liked him to see, try and get it back to David D to restart the flow. Possible 2-on-1 advantage played by Mark Kerrison.
Very open end-to-end stuff. Just missing that real quality though, as David D distributes a beautiful ball over to Jack Hassan, wasn't quite set. I have to say that beyond impressed with David D.
At such a young age
13 years old, and he's producing a performance against players that are 10, 15 years his senior, and he's not shying away from the physicality as well, which is beyond impressive.
Another goal on court A. I think this time it was for...
Yeah, another for Nottingham Forest, who are now 5-1 up against AFC Bournemouth Warriors. Confirmation of that one on your screens now. Huge 3 points for them. Jacob Vickers has to come back to cover Hannah Hindley. Daniel Holt one-on-one with Hindley. Jacob Vickers just takes the responsibility as the most defensive of the four Muscle Warriors players, and Hannah Hindley bullies her way up the court.
That is one thing Hannah Hindley's really good at, is relieving the pressure deep from her lines, letting her team reset by winning a set piece or trying to get a ball moving just like she did just then. David D now to take. Intercepted by Vickers. Into the path of D. Ball's gone in the favour of Surrey United. Substitution. Mitchell Gosling off.
That's exactly the change I was hoping to see. Stanley Ball on in place of Mitchell Gosling. For all of those unaware, this is the first National League weekend for Stanley Ball. Currently on loan from Sevenoaks PFC. Made a real splash yesterday 3 goals in their 3 games, including a brace against Villa Rockets Lions.
From what I saw yesterday when I was commentating on a Muscle Warriors game, you wouldn't be able to tell it's his first weekend. He's brimming with confidence, always got an eye for goal, but also knows when to use his teammates vitally.
Yeah, a player that's only played power chair football for under 3 years. And when you apply that context, it shows how impressive his development has been. Because whilst I talk about giving the opportunity for young regional-based players to play in the National League, charitable sport won't be given up for the sake of it. You have to be at a certain level to compete at this league because it demands so much of you physically and mentally. Just trying to understand the referee's decision down the far end of the court.
A free kick in favour of Muscle. Jack Hassan hit the back end of Rickinshaw, and I believe it's a direct free kick for Muscle.
So Jacob Vickers to take. Contact foul, so he can go for goal himself. The angle probably means he'll look to Rickinshaw and or Stanley Ball. Into Shah, over to Stanley Ball, attempts an effort at goal. Blocked by Jack Hassan. Very much a poacher is Stanley Ball, puts himself in the right place at the right time, which is why he's got 3 goals to his name.
Free kick for Sale. I believe there was contact between David D and Rickinshaw on the edge of the box.
Rickinshaw now, met by David D. Audacious effort from Rickinshaw, trying to catch Jake Hudson unset on that right-hand post, but well blocked by the Sale United defence. Corner kick the result.
Vickers to take. Stanley Ball at the back post, poised to score another goal in his debut weekend. Shaw being tightly marked by David D.
So Jacob Vickers to take. Just hesitates, feints, fires it into the box. Over to Stanley Ball, attempts an effort on goal. Couldn't quite get the connection to trouble the Sale United defensive duo of Jack Hassan and Jake Hudson, but the danger still present via this Rickinshaw attack. Good work from David D, but Stanley Ball across the face of goal, blocked by David D. The intensity and the speed of the game increasing ever so slightly as we progress into the final quarter of play.
David D now gets it past Shaw, but met by Vickers, plays it out to Stanley Ball, takes a touch.
Pushes it over to Rickinshaw, who returns the favour, certainly tries to. David D, as he does so brilliantly, just breaks up play. Must be such a frustrating player to play against.
Hudson now advancing up the court just like he did in the first half. Gets past Vickers, but it falls for Shaw now. But David D again slowing down the play so Muscle couldn't approach that attack the way they wanted to, with Jake Hudson out of his area, leaving Jack Hassan all on his own. Vickers to take. D and Vickers now. D advancing up the court. Gets the better of Vickers. Flicks it behind into Hudson. But again, Vickers just there in the nick of time before he could get the ball away.
Yeah, very cagey affair this. Just to bring you confirmation of the score on court A. It's Bournemouth Warriors 1, Nottingham Forest 7. Just to put some context to that scoreline, and accumulation of goals from Nottingham Forest. Across their 23-24 campaign, they only registered 8 goals. So if they get one more in that game against AFC Bournemouth Warriors, they will match their season total. That's an impressive stat, isn't it?
Very impressive, considering how Nottingham last season was also struggling to get 4 players on the pitch at some points. Back on court B now, we just missed the action of Jacob Vickers missing the far post as he was by millimetres, resulting in a goal kick for Sale United. Jack Hassan flicks it in the path of David D. Plays it across to Jack Hassan. There's also been a substitution in the lapse of commentary, with Shay Murray being on and Jacob Vickers, arguably the standout player for Muscle Warriors in this game, being substituted with 7 minutes left to play. And so I'll have a free kick.
Yeah. Can Sale United grow in confidence? Just be a little bit brave going forward. Just that 1 goal separation of the two. A weaved finish from Rickenshaw in the first half will frustrate Sale United, because whilst Muscle Warriors have had the more attacking intent, you wouldn't say they've necessarily been the better side. As Stanley Ball poses as an obstacle. It was too close, I think, just not quick enough in vacating that space. An apology to his coach on the sidelines. So an indirect free kick here for Sale United, probably and arguably their most credible opportunity to score, certainly in this second half. Jack Hassan to take, indirect, so has to go via the chair of an opponent or teammate. David D trying to squeeze between Hannah Hindley and Rickenshaw, which is proving easier said than done. He has to be careful of his placement. That's not 3 metres away, so Jack Hassan's going to have to drop off quickly. Just guided and angled goal bound from David D into the side of Hannah Hindley. Not too much trouble for the Muscle Warriors defensive duo though. Flicked across the box. Rickenshaw now to dribble out of danger.
Heavy contact between Hassan and Shada in the favour of Sale United.
I said if Nottingham Forest scored another goal, they would match last season's whole entire season tally. They've done exactly that. AFC Bournemouth Warriors 1, Nottingham Forest 8. Huge win. That will boost confidence and momentum for a side who finished bottom of the 23-24 National League Championship. Had to fight for their survival in a playoff game against GBG Saracens back in July, for which they very narrowly won. And it looks like they're building upon that as we get a few substitutes from Muscle Warriors. Stanley Ball leaves the court, as does Shay Murray. Jacob Vickers and Parth Gakwad back in action as they look to wrap up this 3 points and continue to be top of the tree in the 24-25 Optegra Championship.
Jacob Vickers now on the break for Muscle Warriors, but he is yet again met by David D. He seems to be everywhere.
Yeah, that has been the case in all of Sale United's games. Visible frustration from David D as to not being able to keep that ball in play.
The ball just bounces off David D's share. Now he's battling away with the number 13 of Parth Gakwad. Gakwad now breaks to the far side. Shaw there for the flick.
That's full time on court A. Nottingham Forest with an emphatic 8-1 victory over AFC Bournemouth Warriors. huge win for them. Takes them away from the relegation placement of the Championship division. Here we have less than 3 minutes remaining, and barring a late moment of magic from Sale United, it looks like Muscle Warriors will pick up their 4th consecutive win in the opening weekend of the Championship division. Could they sustain this attacking intent, pressure, momentum and wins to potentially be considered title contenders? We will soon see, as Rickenshire and Parth Gakwad exchanging passes on the edge of the Sale United box. A late rally for them.
Jacob Vickers to take the resulting kick in. Gakwad takes his position in the back post. Goal kick in the favour of Sale United.
Hudson into Hassan. Contact from Jacob Vickers.
Been given in the favour of Sale United.
Yeah, Jack Hassan deemed the aggressor. So, minute and a half left to be played. Just want you to have a little think about player of the match, Troy. As Parth Gakwad tries to capitalise on the defence of Sale United opening up ever so slightly. Out for a Warriors kick-in to be taken by Jacob Vickers. Rickenshire at the back post. Parth Gakwad between the chairs of David D and Jake Hudson.
Ball just getting trapped between Hudson and I believe Gakwad's share there. D's on the break trying to fight hard past the number 13 of Gakwad. Ball's gone out of play, signal by linesperson Jamie King. In favour of Muscle Warriors.
Player of the match, please, Troy.
That's going to be a tough one. For me, it was between David D and Jacob Vickers, but I'm going to give it to Jacob Vickers solely because he's been one of the creative masterminds of this game for Muscle Warriors. Always being there for the shot, always trying to get his teammates involved. But a special mention for David D.
Do you know what? In Sale United's earlier 1-0 defeat to Manchester United, I said, despite the scoreline and the defeat, he could be and should be in consideration for player of the match. So I share that sentiment. But congratulations to Jacob Vickers.
And we are now end of regulation time. Parth Gakwad with a shot. Saved by Hudson. Same with Vickers. We are now in Mark Kerrison time.
Confirmation of that player of the match award to Jacob Vickers of Muscle Warriors. Now 15 seconds over the regulation 20 or 40 as a whole.
David D, but cut out by Shaw. Advantage played.
Rickenshire trying to replicate his goal in the first half, weaving pass.
Contact given in the favour of Sale United. Mark Kerrison checks his watch. Hudson. Contact in the favour of Muscle Warriors as Jack Hassan just reverses in to Parth Gakwad's front bumper.
Surely the last action of the game. Vickers to take into the box. Cleared by Jack Hassan. And that signals the end of the game. Sale United 0, Muscle Warriors 1. 4 wins from 4 to bring up the live league standings. You'll see that that result puts them top of the table. 4 games played, 4 games won, 12 goals scored, 0 conceded. absolutely faultless. Sale United in 7th on 4 points. A lot of positives for them to take as they build in momentum. Next up for them, they're up. Well, that is their weekend complete, so back to the training pitch. Take everything that they've learned into consideration ahead of game week 2 in November. Muscle Warriors with one more game to play today against Teesside Steel. Thank you to all that have tuned in, to myself and Troy. Hope you can all tune in to other games in game week 1 of the 2024-25 Optegra Championship.